So, y'all remember this video that we uploaded on the channel a few days ago? We spoke about Vancouver Canucks forward Kiefer Sherwood, and Chris Johnston, and Pierre LeBrun's predictions that he would get traded to either Dallas or Boston. In that video, we used Johnston and LeBrun's article on The Athletic to give the scoop, and we followed up with our opinions after that. Well, guess who went out there and posted part 2 of their NHL Trade Matchmaker series of articles? Yes, that is right. Pierre LeBrun and Chris Johnston are back at it again. This article is on The Athletic, but it's behind a paywall. If you have The Athletic, you can go out there and read it yourself. The link is going to be in the description. But because we do not want to share paywalled information that is strictly behind a paywall on this channel for free, instead we will go over to sources that are not behind a paywall. Because it turns out, one of the names that is listed on this article is none other than Nashville Predators forward Jonathan Marchessault, a guy who, at one time, was playing with the really long last name on the jersey. Marchessault's still pretty long, don't get me wrong. But Marchessault is a 35-year-old 5'9", 185-pound winger playing for the Nashville Predators. Right-handed guy signed on till the end of 2029, making $5.5 million a year. And I guess it goes without saying here, but the Predators, they haven't really been all too good. And Marchessault, a guy who literally is just a few years removed from being a Conn Smythe winner for the Vegas Golden Knights, he was the pivotal piece, allowing them to win a Stanley Cup championship back in 2023. He was way over a point per game, and he had 69 points in 82 games the next season. He ended up leaving, and he went over to Nashville, had 56 points in 21 games last season. 78 games. 56 points in 21 games would be insane. That'd be Connor McDavid level if we're being real here. But Marchessault was great last year. This year, he's on pace for about 26 points over a 73-game sample. He's only got 10 points in 28 right now. But really, it's like everybody on Nashville is producing fewer points. Nobody has really taken a big step unless you're Luke Evangelista and you're proving everybody wrong in the past month and a bit. But that's why Jonathan Marchessault, who is, as we had noted, 35 years old, it's why his name has entered trade talks. You talk about Marshy, you talk about Stamkos, you talk about Ryan O'Reilly. A lot of these forwards that are on the older side have been tossed around in trade conversations throughout the course of the year because Nashville is just that bad. These guys could potentially be interested in contending, but they're not going to be able to do that with a team that is 28th in the NHL at the time of recording this audio. Which is why we head over to The Athletic to dive into where it is Pierre LeBrun and Chris Johnston believe Marchessault will get traded to. And to get the scoop, we're heading over onto NHLTradeRumors.me because Jeremy Tingley goes out there and talks about one of them. Now, I say talks about, he just kind of copies and pastes what's in the Athletic article. Yeah, this is what we're talking about when it comes to paywalled material. The Athletic is behind the paywall, but this website is not. And this website copied and pasted some of the stuff from this website, so technically this one is available for everybody to go out there and look at. NHL Trade Rumors, it's the Canadiens and the Predators linked in a big trade. The article reads, the Nashville Predators are going to be entering sell mode, where the Montreal Canadiens will be buying all day long. Now, I want to put a little bit of a pause to that. I don't know if the Canadiens are going to be buying all day long. It depends on who is available. I know they just got to know, but still. These two teams have been linked to a trade by one of the biggest hockey insiders in the game. The Athletic's Chris Johnston sees the Canadiens as the perfect landing spot for Predators veteran forward Jonathan Marchessault. The 34-year-old winger has 3 seasons left in his contract at $5.5 million AAV and owns a full no-move clause. This is the excerpt from Johnston on the article. This is a move that would certainly sit well with Marchessault, which is important given the fact that he has a no-move clause in his contract. the former Conn Smythe winner would be able to bring some experience to the NHL's youngest roster and should be able to add offensive pop to the Habs' top 6 forward group. Facilitating a trade for Marchessault would necessitate some money going out the door, with Patrik Laine's $8.7 million cap hit the most obvious candidate to go. The Quebec native would be a popular addition for the fan base. Marchessault is struggling to find consistency this season, which is a common theme with the Predators in general. He has scored 7 goals and added 3 assists in 28 games, averaging 16:46 of ice time per game, including almost 3 minutes per game with the power play. Marchessault is certainly on the trade block, there's no doubt about it. If the Canadiens don't land the former Stanley Cup champion, look for the Caps, Devils, Leafs, and Lightning to have serious interest ahead of the deadline. And that would be really nice to see Tampa Bay go out there and get Marchessault, OD Marchessault, one more time. Now, speaking about the Maple Leafs, that's actually the team that Pierre LeBrun goes out there and links Marchessault to in the Athletic article. Again, if you have it, you can check it out yourself, but there is an entire write-up on him and the Leafs there too. But Chris Johnston opening up Pandora's box over here. It's like Avatar. Pandora, right on your doorstep, baby. Patrik Laine potentially going back over to Nashville in exchange for Jonathan Marchessault. Now, I'm going to go out there and say this right here. Patty Laine has a pretty interesting valuation at this point. He's 27, so a lot younger than Marchessault, bigger, also a pretty talented goal scorer when given the opportunity, and he's making $8.7 million till the end of this season. It's a pretty beefy contract, but the problem is Laine has not played a game in, it's been 2 months. The last game he played was against Nashville, for crying out loud. He's only got 1 point in 5 games this season. Last year he had 20 goals in 52 games, which is absolutely where you will see the most value out of him. This is not a guy who has been versatile offensively at all for Montreal. He has just been a literal trigger man. You give him the puck in the power play, he fires it. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't, but it goes in more often than other players' shots from that area would go in. Which is why Patrik Laine was a pretty pivotal part to help the Canadiens make the playoffs last year. Except he didn't play many playoff games. He only had 2 under his belt. Half a point a game, which is nice, but then again, it's like, reliability and being in the lineup is also a factor here. For the Nashville Predators, it's like, if we get Patrik Laine and the guy's going to be out for however many more weeks it's going to be, then that can be really good for our tanking odds. It can give us another chance to get a top player, and that could be useful long term. Not in the same way that a Jonathan Marchessault or a Stamkos or an O'Reilly will technically be, although you can make the debate that having leadership and guys that want to be in Nashville like O'Reilly will be positive driving forces for the future too. Okay, that's an entire other conversation. If O'Reilly wants to stay, maybe it's because of the dollars rather than being on a losing team with young guys. But anyways, Jonathan Marchessault in Montreal would be super interesting. I would be kind of intrigued as to what the line combinations look like afterwards with a guy like Marchessault on the lineup. I mean, you think about what's already been put out there. I would say probably the easiest candidate to go is Zach Bolduc, since he has been up and down pretty much everywhere throughout the course of the year. He has really hot streaks, and it seems like he's in one of those right now, so being on the first line probably is the right move at the moment. But you never know when things can fall off a cliff with Zach Bolduc, and so having a guy like Marchessault alongside of Caulfield and Suzuki, that'd be pretty good. And I'm saying that just because I like having Slav and Demidov on the same line there. Marchessault plays wing, so you wouldn't be replacing Kapanen in that spot either. Philippe Deneau with Josh Anderson, maybe bring Thomas Tatar back for the good vibes. Gallagher also there in a bottom 6 role too. But with that being said, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the idea of a Jonathan Marchessault for Patrik Laine trade? Do you think this is actually a reasonable thing to think about? And do you think Chris Johnston is in the right headspace for writing about it in The Athletic? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. How do you feel about this particular idea? Would you be on board? Would you not? I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on. And bye.